Vicente Luque, you took this fight on short notice. Were you training at all? Were you preparing, asking for fights, or were you just off camp when you got the offer to fight here in Sao Paulo?
Yeah, well, I had been offered this fight 3 weeks ago, and I was already asking for a fight either October or November. So I was planning on fighting like about this kind of days, and when I got the offer, I was ready. I was training kind of like if I were on a camp already. My weight was really good. I was about 190, 188. So I knew that I could make the weight no problem, and it just made sense to take the fight. It's a good opponent, and it's a good fight. I wanted to fight here in Brazil, so it's really good.
They offered you this fight 3 weeks ago, but they only announced it like 10 days ago. Why it took so long for them to announce the fight?
Well, I don't really know why they took so long. I took the fight right away. I believe Niko also took the fight right away. So I'm not sure like why they took so long. That's more of their side of things, how they do things. I don't know, and I can only announce it after all that. So many people announced it before me, and I just couldn't say anything about it. So it's how it is.
Was it frustrating having to not talk about a fight at all?
A little bit. I mean, I was really excited that I was gonna fight, so I wanted to let everybody know. But they just they asked to wait for them to post about it, so we just respect them. And
were you worried that the fight might even be canceled because they weren't announcing it?
No, I wasn't worried because everything had been done already. I had the contract signed. The other guy had the contract signed, so the fight was on. It just hadn't been announced yet. But I knew the fight was gonna happen, so I wasn't worried about that.
You were calling out Carlos Condis and you asked the UFC to replace Thiago Alves against Mike Perry. Were you expecting a bigger opponent compared to Niko Price?
No, I wasn't expecting a bigger opponent. I mean, for sure, I want to fight somebody in the top 15. I want to fight the guys that are up and coming, and I believe Niko is an up and coming fighter. He has 3 wins in the UFC and like great wins, so I believe he is like a top opponent. He's not a top 15. I still didn't get to those guys. I want those guys. That's why I asked to fight like with guys. Before I was asking Tarek Saffiedine, I also asked for Carlos Condit. I want to fight the guys that are up there, but I understand that the UFC, you got to respect what they want to do, and I respect it, and I go in there and put on a fight. So I think if I keep putting on exciting fights, I'm going to get the fights I want. And I think Niko Price is a really interesting fight. He's a tough opponent, and he has been growing a lot lately. So I don't think it's a bad fight like in that kind of way.
Were you the one that reached out to the UFC offering to replace Luan Chagas, or did they reach out to you?
No, they reached out to me, yeah. Sean Shelby reached out to us, to my camp, and we talked to them, and it made sense to get that fight, so that's why we took it.
Did you know Niko when they offered you the fight, or did you have to Google him to know?
No, I had heard about him, and I had watched one of his fights. At the time, I didn't watch it like knowing that I was going to fight him, so I didn't remember the fight so well, but I knew who he was. And after that, I researched and got to know him better.
How do you see this fight playing out?
Well, I think we both fight in very similar ways. We like to pressure. If the fight starts standing up, we both always go to striking. If it goes to the ground, both of us have good submission games. So I think it's going to play out like all the time pressure from both sides, probably even a fight of the night.
You were on a good winning streak in the UFC, but had just recent loss against Leon Edwards. What are the lessons that you learned in that fight against Leon?
I think the biggest thing I learned from this fight, from my last fight, was to respect my body. I had like four fights. My last 4 fights were in a period of 8 months, and that was really hard on my body, all the weight cuts, and I wasn't feeling 100% to go for that fight. But I took it anyway because I was really excited that I was winning, and I wanted to get fast in the top 15. And I should have maybe took a step back, waited a little bit, get in better shape, and then get a fight. But that's the biggest thing I learned from that.
But being on short notice now, even despite being on short notice, you feel you're 100%?
Yeah, I definitely do, because I fought last time in March, so I took a good time to rest, recover my body, and after that I started training all the basics. That's something I hadn't done on the last 8 months before my previous fight, because when you have many fights, you got to go camp to camp, and you don't train the basics, and that's what I was missing. I needed to get back to my basics and work on everything, ground game, work on the striking, but like the really beginner stuff that people sometimes think, oh, that's just for beginners. No, but everybody has to do it all the time. And I was able to work on that and still then start getting in shape. And when they offered me the fight, I was already like on the idea of fighting at this time, so it was perfect.
Do you hope that a big win Saturday puts you in a position to get a fight against the guys like Condit or Perry?
Yeah, for sure. I think a big win on Saturday puts me right where I was before my last loss. I mean, I don't think my last loss erases any of the things I did before. I have 4 great finishes. So I think a big win Saturday in an impressive fashion, I can go and after that start getting other big names.
How do you see this big win being? Do you think it's going to be a knockout? Do you think it's going to be a submission?
I see a knockout. I see a knockout. I mean, it could be either way, but I believe I'm going to finish it by knockout, and for sure it's going to be before the 3 rounds.